Are back at it with some more MX bikes, and we're on the MXGP of Turkey created by JV. This was the last event of the MXGP series, and I actually didn't do this track. I didn't do that race, and I actually only downloaded this track literally like 3 days ago. It's one of the tracks for the motocross designations that possibly could be on like the qualifying race, so I had to practice it. And yeah, I think I found the meta for bikes. I really do. I've been rocking the YZ here for about 5 days now. I've been kind of just going back and forth with this one and the Kawasaki. I think the Kawasaki is going to be the bike that everybody rides next year. I'm dead serious. It is literally so good stock, and I changed some suspension up on it, and it's even better. I'm rocking the YZ right now because I also think it's really, really good. But also, I told my friend B that I would rock the YZ for the qualifying race, and he already started creating graphics for the bike, so I was like, well, I can't change now. But I'm pretty sure if we get into like the A main event or whatever it is, I think it's on like November 5th or something like that, I'm probably going to be rocking the Kawasaki. You guys are totally right. That Kawasaki is insane. And I will show you guys my setups for both the YZ and the Kawasaki here in a second. But I was originally rocking the KTM for a while, as well as like the Husky. And I don't know. I wasn't feeling that good on it. I went to multiple different GP tracks, and I just couldn't get a lap time close enough to what my lap times were during like the season. And I was like, all right, let's go back on the YZ. Let's see what we can do and just kind of go from there. And well, my first couple like tries on the YZ, oh my God, I kind of wanted to just give up. I talked about this a little bit. I think the YZ was so bouncy. It was just unbearable bouncy. However, we switched up the setup a little bit. I even got some info, like from some feedback from my boy Briggs regarding the suspension, and it has helped tremendously for this bike. I can actually ride it on any track now, and I don't feel like I'm just gonna like swap. Now, then again, this is only on the GP tracks. I haven't tried it for Supercross. I haven't done it anything like that per se. But I do think the YZ is going to be viable this year. Like, I went back to Sweden, which is one of the tracks that's on the list for motocross designations qualifying, and I ran a faster time than I did during the season. I also know the bikes are faster. I get that, but also just I was more consistent. I felt like I was just flying, and the tracks weren't as bouncy. There's like really no braking bumps on Sweden, and that's where I kind of noticed YZ was actually really good with the setup I had. And then I actually went to France, and I was like, oh my God, I can't ride this thing. And then changed up the setup a tiny bit with the boy Briggs' help, and we found it. I can now consistently ride any track with no matter the braking bumps, no matter the roughness, and feel good. That's how I feel with the YZ right now. And I also feel the same way with the Kawasaki. I just feel like both of these bikes are going to be meta. I really do. I know we haven't found a meta yet, but guys, the Kawasaki might be the meta. I'm dead serious. That thing stock is insane. You guys can see it. My hot lap here is on the Kawasaki. Like, literally, that's how good the bike is. Let me show you guys the setup that I'm rocking with right now for the YZ. In general, it's kind of your standard. I like the 90 front. I've said this in a previous video. I like the 90 front, 120 rear. I do 102 tire pressure. This is also UK settings. Basically one click down from stock. That's basically what it is. Setup right here. This is probably the most important part. I would go from default to create this because the setups do change if you already have a setup on the bike from prior beta, right? So I went with number 5 in the front for spring. I went with 13 clicks. Super high clicks too for the bump. Super high clicks for the rebound too, in my opinion. It just softens up the bike tremendously, which helps with all the braking bumps. Preload to 7, which reduces the stiffness. Oil, got to keep that front end kind of more stable than normal with the 105. So it's basically just stock. I didn't like tweaking it. I felt like it was just too soft if I went lower, and then too kind of stiff, kind of washing out if I went higher. Rear suspension. Spring, I went 1 up, 13 bump. Like, again, man, I'm making the bike super soft, but it works. It really does. Like the fast bump, 2 3/4. That can basically kind of be changed regarding of like the braking bump situation if you want it more like stiff and stuff. Rebound up 2 clicks, and then preload I left with 7 on the rear. Drivetrain, I went with 1350. The others, I went with 22, which is stock. My boy Briggs mentions this, that he said, I like the 22 better than like kind of going up. And in past betas, I feel like we've been going up to 24, 25 in past betas. But for some reason, this beta right here, 22 is really good on like kind of like all bikes. Fork offset, kind of the same, similar thing. I feel like we always gone up like tremendously regarding like the last beta and stuff, but this one I'm actually going down to 3 and it feels good. For swing arm, I went with 6, and then rod length is basically capped out at 144. I like personally the 2022 mapping. 2023 gives you more an aggressive bike. I kind of like the mellowness for the YZ. It just works well with my riding style. You guys can definitely try the 2023. I just like 2022 better. And that's my setup. I honestly feel like this bike is actually pretty damn good. Now, what I want you guys to do though, is I want you guys to take that setup and make it better for me. You know, I want you guys to test it out, see if you guys can make it a little bit better, and then send it to me in the Discord, or like post it in the Discord or something. I would love to check out some more setups. I think this one works good on most tracks. I've tested it out on Sweden, Germany, Turkey. I've also tested it out on France and it worked good. So if you guys can make it better, definitely do that and send it to me, man. I would love to try it, especially for the YZ. I love the YZ bike. I rode it all last year and everything. So but yeah, that's my setup. Let me jump onto the Kawasaki and show you guys that setup as well. Okay, we're on the Kawasaki, and this thing, man, just is so freaking good stock, man. It really is. And just trust me when I say that it's really good. I mean, I swear that when I got onto this bike, my friend Jordan was rocking it just stock, and I was like, okay, it can't be that good. I'm telling you guys, stock, it's freaking amazing. And then I switched up a couple of the settings, not too many of them, and it feels even better. Like, I'm dead serious. It feels super good. One thing I really like about it is it's just kind of planted. It doesn't really bounce as much compared to, say, the YZ. It just kind of stays on the ground, and I think that's like the best aspect of this, especially on the rough tracks, man. If you can stay planted throughout the roughness and stuff, it's going to help you tremendously. One thing I also noticed, you guys see how my front end kind of like died almost there? This bike kind of saves that. I hit on on Germany. You guys know how there's like a tight little S section before like the big wall jump? Yeah, I hit the wall multiple times there. Not once did I go down. It just kind of saves it for some reason. I don't really know why. I honestly do not know, but it just like works, which is, I think, a good thing, because most of the bikes, like when you do that front end kind of like dragging the front tire, your bike just gonna die, like instantly die. That's one thing I like about the Kawasaki, is just kind of, like I said, it's just planted and it doesn't do weird things like most other bikes. So I think, really, in my opinion, this bike is going to be the meta. One thing I will say though is I'm not a fan of the fat bar. I definitely am gonna have to get the OEM pack and then get like the crossbar. I've just never been a fat bar type of guy, in my opinion. Even my real life bikes, I don't like fat bars. I always like the crossbars. I think that's just more style compared to anything. I think the fat bars work better for like pros and stuff, in my opinion. If you guys like looked at PC last year, they all went to fat bars. A lot of the top guys, Jet rocks a fat bar, Chase rocks a fat bar. For me though, I don't know. I just like the essence of the crossbar, in my opinion. I think it just looks better on bikes. But I know you guys want the setup. Like, that's what I know you guys want. And I got you, man. It's not anything crazy. It's not anything like that. But I want you guys to try it and make it better. That's what I want. I want you guys to test it out, see what you guys can do, a few clickers here and there. But here we go. Same thing from the other bike. 90 front, 120, 102, 102, 20. Basically the same as the YZ. Suspension. This is where I didn't change it too much. Like, you can see that I really didn't change the front end. I changed it only a couple clicks up on the bump, 1 click on the rebound, 2 on the preload. Kind of just makes the preload, it just kind of stiffens up the suspension with the more clicks, but also the rebound kind of makes it a little bit softer, so it kind of counterbalances it. Oil, I left. I tried to reduce it, but it actually made it worse. In corners, it kind of like dragged a little bit, so I didn't like it, so I went back up to 120 and it feels much better. Rear, 56, just up 1. Slow bump, 19, only up 1. Fast bump, I went to 2 3/4. As you can see, a huge increase. Definitely check that one out. Maybe change it, see what you guys like about it. Rebound 13 and then preload 8. Similar to the front end, kind of just counterbalances it. And then drivetrain, I left at 1350. Another bike where I'm leaving the fork offset at 22. Fork height, we reduced down to 2. Swing arm back to 6. And then I capped out the rod length at 139. This is another bike that has a mellow type of side for the mapping with like the 22 and 23. But for this bike, I like the 23 compared to the 22. I don't feel like it's too aggressive compared to the YZ. But you guys obviously can check out the different mappings, kind of go from there. I honestly have never even used the 19, 20, or 21. I've just never even touched those before. And I personally think, like I said, this bike is going to be the bike of choice starting next year for outdoors, man. I really do. If they don't change anything for the physics, this bike might be everybody's bike of choice. That's how good it is, in my opinion. And I know you guys were telling me to try it out. And my boy Jordan was also telling me to try it out. And yeah, I'm glad I did, because my first ride on it, I was like, I messaged my boys in the Discord and I said, yeah, this is the bike of choice. I was like, B, make me a graphics kit. And he's like, I already started the YZ. I was like, crap. Well, I guess we're rocking with the YZ for the qualifying race. And then hopefully we make it, maybe go back to the Kawasaki. I want to preference all of this by saying I have never actually raced this in a race. This is all just testing. This has all been based on testing. I don't know how well it's going to do in E-Road. I don't know how well it will do with like slow physics around people or anything like that. This has all just been in testing, doing hot laps, doing more than like 5 laps in a row, stuff like that. But it feels good. I'm assuming it's not going to change too much during a race if like you're by yourself. Obviously the E-Road one will make a difference depending on what setup you're rocking. But I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference if you can start changing up lines and kind of just like picking and choosing which lines you want to go to. But I honestly feel like the Kawasaki allows you to just go left and right without any consequences, man. That's how I feel. So I don't really see too much of a difference going into the race side of things. And I honestly feel like this bike is going to be the meta, dude. I really do. I said that in my Discord to my boys, and everybody was like, cap, cap, cap. And I'm like, no, guys, this bike feels amazing. Every time I try to land something weird or like I land sideways, it just saves itself. Obviously, there might be another bike that does this. I've only tested the Kawasaki, Husky, KTM, and YZ. And so far out of those bikes, I'm saying the Kawasaki is the best. I also rode the Suzuki and Supercross. Everybody was saying that's going to be the meta for Supercross. I don't know. I got to test out the Kawasaki and Supercross, YZ and Supercross. I also want to test out the Honda. I've never seen one person on a Honda in any lobby that I've been in. I've also never seen it on streams. So I really don't know. I just don't know how that bike's going to handle either. So, but yeah, just check out these bikes. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have a setup that works well that I should try. I would love to definitely test them out and just give them a go and stuff like that. So, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you guys did. Make sure you guys hit the sub button. We're close to 14,000, man. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for the love on the recent content. Make sure you guys stay tuned for tomorrow's video. And I'm out. Peace.